in New York to visit KPMG, the global professional services company, and we're talking about the strategic issues that are concerning CEOs at the moment. Now, you may think those are pretty constant: beating the competition, boosting revenue, and increasing growth. Well, yes and no, because some issues such as data analytics and digital transformation weren't even on the horizon just a few years ago. Every year, KPMG surveys some 1,200 chief executives on what's keeping them up at night, and the results are in. With me now is Gary Reeder, Global Head of Insurance at KPMG. Welcome to the Business Debate.
Thank you, Sarah. Good to be here.
So we're talking now about what CEOs are focusing on at the moment. And one of the main findings of your survey, Disrupt and Grow, is that technology is sweeping through many industries. And how are CEOs responding?
I think, Sarah, 12 to 18 months ago, I think CEOs were generally worried by new technology, particularly in the form of new startups, which is how it was manifesting itself, really. I think what the survey's showing now is they're becoming much more embracing of new technology, of new startups, working out how to work with rather than compete with, I think is possibly the really significant trend here. And alongside that, we're seeing a lot of focus on innovation. How do we innovate? How do we do things differently to grow? And again, that involves embracing new technology. And the another thing about with technology is that it's really allowing companies to move into new industries. So everyone talks about Amazon moving into disrupt, but it's actually allowing pharma companies to move into the healthcare sector and things like that. And again, all of this is underpinned with new technology.
And more generally, how confident are CEOs about the global economic outlook?
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, they remain pretty positive, both in terms of at a global level and within their own industries. Not as bullish as they were last year, to be honest. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. We've seen some of the geopolitical developments that I think have caused a little bit of uncertainty. There's new regulation that needs to be considered. If you look at the world of autonomous vehicles, for example, they're going to need a whole new sort of regulatory framework in which to operate. It's going to affect the automotive industry, it's going to affect insurance, it's going to affect infrastructure, and I think that lack of clarity is just making certain sectors feel that little bit less confident about the future.
But Brexit and maybe Donald Trump not having so much of an effect?
Yeah, no, we were surprised, particularly on the Brexit point, that nobody was concerned about the fact that Brexit would have an adverse effect on location for R&D operations, for example.
And we've spoken about technology, which is so essential to all business now, but there is a skills shortage there. What are CEOs saying about that?
Yeah, a couple of things actually, because as you're right, you see, I'm very close to financial services, for example. A number of the technology capabilities there have been moving to tech companies rather than remaining in financial services. But I think one trend we're definitely seeing is actually around partnerships and collaboration with technology suppliers, so working with to access that capability that you need. And also on the M&A front, actually seeing organizations go and actually acquire technology capability to again get those capabilities back into their organization.
And how widespread is your survey, and do you see any discrepancies between different sectors?
Yeah, well, we interviewed over 1,200 CEOs from 11 industries and 10 countries, so very, very widespread. And yes, obviously some common themes, but yeah, within sectors, for example, consumer, retail, banking, were all very much more bullish and positive about growth, for example, and that might be because they've invested quite heavily in technology in recent times and feel they're further up the maturity curve. Other sectors were less concerned about the need to manage external stakeholders, for example, than actually life sciences and consumer were. One trend which was slightly surprising initially, 2016, a lot of concern about cyber, which seems to have gone away this time round, and I think possibly because a lot of money's been spent on, trying to protect organizations. But, the sector I look after, cyber's not only a risk to their organization, it's a big opportunity as well in terms of cyber insurance. And we see a big market growing in terms of organizations being able to buy protection to cover them, not just in the event of a loss, but actually to help them prevent a loss and to remediate if they suffer one.
Well, on that note, Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure.